What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Road to the Show. And on today's episode, we got a former teammate of mine, Jacob Bodner. Jacob, thanks for coming on, man.
No problem, man.
So you actually just got done throwing a bullpen, even though the season was over. It just got over a couple weeks ago. Why don't you tell everybody why that is?
So I got the news about a week ago that I'm attending the Arizona Fall League, so I'm heading out there to throw and looking forward to it.
That's awesome, dude. Congrats on that. So obviously the Arizona Fall League's about most prestigious league there is, where all the top prospects are going. Did you have any idea throughout the course of this season that you could possibly be called up to that league at the end of the year?
There's somewhat. I knew it was somewhat a possibility, but at the end of the year, not hearing anything, you kind of expect, okay, I'm getting ready to have a full off season. Then you get the call about a week after saying, hey, we'd like for you to attend, and I was amped up about it, and I look forward to it.
That's what I was saying. Like, we got to get this interview in pretty good because Jacob's got a golf trip. He's got a golf outing, right? You got to go to. Do you ever play golf during the season?
We tried to, but it was tough because this year we had rain on a couple of our off days that we had tee time set up for, so it didn't quite work out. But I played the other day, so I didn't shoot too bad.
Is it mainly pitchers who want to go golfing during the season, or are there position players too?
Honestly, it's a good mix of both. I mean, there's no really rhyme to reason who wants to go golf. It's usually both. So
yeah, I got you. Yeah, I'm not too big of a golfer myself, but so this past season went good. What adjustments did you make? Because you were in Wilmington this past year, and you finished the year before in Wilmington as well. What adjustments did you make from last year to this year?
I just worked on controlling the fastball, being able to command it a little better this year. Cut down on the walks, obviously, make them put it in play, and the results are a lot better this year, and I was excited about it.
Now, the season's a grind. How did your body feel like throughout the course of the season? I mean, I know obviously we worked out a little bit towards the end of the off season together, and how did that carry over? I mean, what kind of things did you have to do during the season to keep your body ready to go each day?
So the whole year my body felt great. Even though during my one start I rolled my ankle, but
oh really?
Yeah, so that was kind of painful to deal with for the last couple of weeks, but I'm over it now. But as far as arm felt great. Just do the daily arm care as far as shoulder prep before the game and stuff. Allows you to have a healthy season.
What did you guys have any top prospects on your team who were?
Yeah, we had several, so it's fun to watch them go out and work every day and see the tools they have to showcase, and that was fun to watch.
Did you guys Did you guys talk? Like, were they pitching prospects or were they some?
It was both. We had hitters and pitchers. So we had a couple pitching prospects who one of them moved up to AA, and then we had a couple hitters that were in the top 30 prospect list too that were fun to watch on a daily basis.
So did you think throughout the year that maybe since you were having a good year that you could have gotten called up to AA?
Yeah, I mean, you never know because anytime a pitcher goes down up there, they're going to need a pitcher from obviously high A. So there were a couple times where they called up someone, and it just honestly happens to be who's hot that day and stuff because they need a pitcher the next day up there in AA. So I was just thankful to have a healthy year in Wilmington and finish strong though. So looking forward to spring training next year.
You guys kind of got guys like coming and going all the time. Did you guys have any like indie ball guys get signed to your team at all?
Not our team. I know in low A and AA, I think there was one or two, and because we had a couple of guys go down this year, and then as far as number wise, we were kind of low at some levels, so we needed some help and talent along the way. So I signed a couple, but I haven't had the opportunity to meet them. So
right, I got you. So like. Obviously, this year you've played very well, but in past years, if you're not pitching as good or you have a few bad outings in a row, we've got a lot of younger guys who are going to be listening, watching to this. How do you get yourself back on track? Because obviously you're in the minor leagues, and it's pretty rough, pretty cutthroat in terms of getting released, or you see other guys come and go all the time. How do you get your mind back on straight, and how do you get your confidence up?
Well, I know it's easier said than done, but you just got to have short-term memory. You just got to forget about it. Know that that's the past. You can't do anything about it. So, and being a bullpen guy, you're going to be in there every 2 or 3 days. So you really got to have short-term memory for that aspect, because if not, it'll eat you up for a week or two until you get out of the rut. But yeah, when you have a bad outing, just just wipe it clean because, I mean, you're going to have several more and know that your stuff's good enough to get hitters out each time you step on the mound. So you just got to know that. You just got to know that, clean the slate, and move forward.
What's your – I mean, I'm a position player, so my mentality is a little bit different, but you're a bullpen guy coming into the game. I mean, what's your mentality like coming in, you know, what was it, 6th, 7th inning usually, right around there?
Yeah, it honestly varied this year. I had one start, but I came in the game anywhere from the 4th inning to the 9th inning. It varied. And there's some times where I go 3 innings, sometimes I go 2, and then sometimes I come in and get an out. So it honestly varied a little bit this year, and it's fun to do that.
So you rolled your ankle your first start, so they were like, yeah, we're not going to do that again. Is that right?
No, that wasn't the reason why. So the reason why I started was because we were short on pitching that day. One of our starters, I think, got called up, and we had a doubleheader or something like that. So I needed the bullpen guy to start, and I was, as far as having most days off, I was the hottest that day. So I started and then went 4 innings, and most pitches and innings I've thrown in probably 4 years or so. But it's fun. It's fun to get out there and start again.
Now, a lot of the pitchers, you know, they think that they can hit. A lot of position players think that they can pitch. Did you ever watch some games and just think to yourself that I could easily be out there like hitting with these guys? Because you hit in college too, for everyone who doesn't know. Did you ever feel that way, or did you ever get to take any BP or anything?
I didn't get the opportunity to take BP, but obviously there's times where you wish you could hit again. But from a competitive standpoint, those guys would dominate me if I ever stepped in the box again. Yeah. But it's just your curiosity side is itching at the bit to get in the box again. But no, those guys would eat me up if I stepped in the box. They'd probably shatter my bat, or I'd definitely swing through it. But
yeah, I understand that. So what are some of the things that, you know, throughout the course of the season, even though you were successful, like what are you working on? Because I mean, yeah, like you had a good season, but obviously, you know, you always want to continue to get better. So what adjustments were you making throughout the course of the season? Because you guys played the same teams, or you facing the same hitters over and over.
So you're facing the same hitters over and over again. So they got a good scouting report on you. So
right.
At the end of the day, it's man versus man instead of your best stuff versus their best stuff. So you can't really trick anyone. Right. You're playing the same teams every other week. So
right. Now there's a lot of kids out there who are, you know, currently in high school, and even the ones in college currently listening. Like, what advice would you give them? Because you've obviously played at both, who are wanting to continue to play professionally. What kind of things do you think they need to be working on now, or just from a mental aspect?
I honestly think the biggest thing is obviously you got to stay healthy. I mean, I endured two knee injuries, one in college, one in high school. But as far as that, just being able to stay healthy, treating your body right, getting in the weight room, doing arm care as far as pitching stuff. But the mental aspect, just if you have a bad game, bad outing, or a couple bad at bats, like I said earlier, just wipe it clean. I mean, you're going to have bad at bats. It's a game of failure. Yeah. So just having that ability to do that, then just keep working. I know it's not going to feel like you're getting better sometimes. I know when I'm long tossing and in the weight room and stuff, I feel like I'm not getting much velo out of it, but it adds up. And at the end of the day, I am getting velo and doing dry runs and stuff. I'm getting better in my technique and my drive and stuff on the mound. So it doesn't feel like you're getting better when you're working on it, but just keep working. That's my big advice.
I feel like perspective is another big thing. Like, you know, you have the opportunity like to get to play baseball, and I know that sounds, you know, corny or whatever, but I mean, I've seen it. I definitely, you know, I'm playing independent ball, different level than you, but I mean, there are kids out there very, very talented who will just play for nothing. You know what I'm saying? And who are really good. So I mean, I feel like, you know, gratitude and just perspective is another thing. You know, you get to play baseball and you get to do it for a living. So I know that's what I think. I know we've talked about that before too. Just that gratitude factor. But so you're facing different, you know, hitters at high A versus, you know, low A or rookie ball. What are some of the things that you notice? Could you not get away with certain pitches at high A versus, you know, low A or rookie ball?
I noticed the strike zone's a little tighter. I mean, obviously when you move up each level, it's going to get a little tighter, but you start to see hitters have a hair better approach. I mean, obviously it's the same talent as far as each level, and you're going to see a hair better talent when you move up, obviously, but hitters at each level are going to still be able to do the same thing. They're still going to be able to put the ball in the gap, work some counts, but you're starting to see guys with more crisp, plate approach and stuff
Yeah.
as far as that. So you got to be a little more selective on your pitches and counts and stuff like that. But yeah, I think the approach you see from hitters and the strike zone are the two biggest things, because in low A and rookie ball you can kind of get away with balls on the chalk and
They'll
ball or
swing
two
it kinda,
off,
yeah.
right? So umpires will give that to you, but when you move up, they make you get it more on the plate. So that's kind of tough as far as
Yeah.
putting the ball on the plate each pitch, trying to get them out. But I think that's the biggest adjustment you got to make moving up.
So are you trying to throw? I mean, I'm not a pitcher, so I really don't know. I mean, if I was pitching, I'd be on the mound trying to throw it, especially as a reliever, every ball as hard as I could.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you throw pretty much every?
Yeah, I try to. There's some times where you don't really take the foot off the gas, but you try to command the ball a little better. And then there's times where you just let it eat when you got to count in your favor, and it's like, all right, I'm going high at this pitch. I'm gonna challenge him. So, but for the most part, you're attacking the hitter with your best stuff every time. And I know that when I was starting, that was a little different because you had to not really take the foot off the gas, but kind of cruise a little bit and then amp it up when you wanted to in order to be able to go more than 3 innings or so. So from that aspect, it was different. But
Well, in college, you were hitting. Let's see, like, what'd you top out in college? What was your highest you ever heard of?
I think like 5 or so.
Five or so. I mean, what are you topping out like now? Is it still around the same?
Yeah, I think this year was 6 or so.
It was 6.
Maybe,
Just
could've been a
96.
tick.
Just 96.
Yeah, I didn't really go check my velo as much. I mean,
Yeah,
I was more interested in the results as far as getting the hitters out. And
Right.
Stuff, but and they weren't. They had the velos on TrackMan stats and stuff like that, but I was more interested in watching my mechanics and stuff rather than getting caught up in velocity.
I don't know if you saw this the other day, but Trevor Bauer came out and kind of said, the difference between like minor league pitching and the big leagues is that in the minor leagues you'll get tons of opportunities to pitch if you have high velo versus someone who's maybe 86 and gets really good results. And then you get to the big leagues and, if you just get
It's about
outs,
getting outs, yeah.
it's just about getting outs.
Yeah.
So do you see that where there's guys who are just hanging around just because they can throw ridiculously hard?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, you see guys on our team and different teams that come out of the pen and throw in 100. It's like, that's a good gift to have, but
Well, you're not that far off. You might
right. Well, I don't know about that, but as far as like at the end of the day, though, I think when you start seeing it more high too. Like at the end of the day, you got to get outs too in order to move up. I mean, velo obviously helps, and at the plate power and stuff helps, but if you don't got a good batting average, ERA, strikeouts, you're walking a lot of if you're walking a lot of guys, like you won't move up just because you throw hard. You still got at the end of the day, you still got to get guys out because there's guys in front of you that are trying to get to the big leagues that are getting guys out. So it's like you can't bump that guy out just because you throw hard. But I mean, obviously the velocity will help and allow you to stay around longer, more opportunities. But like I said, at the end of the day, you got to get guys.
And that's kind of another thing I'm kind of curious about, right? Because in affiliated ball, especially the minor leagues, it's really just about developing, right? They're just trying to get you to the big leagues. So I mean, do you see like guys where, maybe a position player is on the bench and someone in front of him gets a hit? You can tell he's not happy because maybe that guy's gonna move up before him. Or do you see any of the kind of like that jealousy factor?
You would think you would, but honestly, you really don't because as a team, you're playing together, and at the end of the day, you want to go out there and win. So if you go out there and win, your team looks good, and you're out there and you're competing in the playoffs each and every year, then they're more apt to move that team up and more guys off that team than if your team's bad and just you're good. Because we saw it where our AA team went to the playoffs this year, and they've had that core of guys around for a while, and they went to the playoffs last year too. So they like it when you win because it kind of gets that mentality and brings it to the major league level too, and they want to keep that mentality all the way through. So I wouldn't say people get jealous or you would think that, but honestly, at the end of the day, I don't really see it that much. I think once you step on the field, everyone wants to win and see each other do well. So
the other thing, I'm kind of curious about is, your size, right? How tall are you?
5'10".
5'10", 5'10", throwing topping out at 96. Now, do you ever like have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder? Like, have you ever had somebody be like, I don't know if you can play in the big leagues necessarily because of your size?
Not really. I haven't had anyone tell me that. There was when I was getting recruited for college. There was some college pitching coach that were kind of turned off. I know, not throwing anyone under the bus, but I was at Indiana for a workout, and they kept me and this other guy back to hit and do some extra work, and they were interested in us both. And then they said that they didn't want to give me a scholarship because they like taller pitchers and stuff, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But you kind of have a chip on your shoulder because you're out to prove people wrong and stuff because you've been told your whole life, oh, you're too short.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have the wingspan. Your hands are too small
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So obviously that's a little drive, but I wouldn't say it's like.
Yeah.
Like
Well, I mean, you
killer
see
was out.
pitchers, these days. What, Sonny Gray? He's not that tall. I mean, there's guys. There's several guys who throw hard.
And honestly, you can look at it as kind of an advantage too, because you see the new hitting philosophy now is teaching guys to get that. They want to put the ball in the air.
Yeah.
So that's causing their barrel to be low in the zone. Well, if we're throwing from this arm angle, and you got your taller pitchers throwing from a higher arm angle,
Coming
so
down,
they're coming
yeah.
down. So when we're throwing from different arm angle, it can be an advantage to us, and we got to use that to our advantage. So we try to have a little life on the fastball, and it allows you to not pitch up in the zone a lot, but put the ball in the zone up and have success when you see hitters' barrels going to the bottom of the zone trying to hit the ball in the air.
That's really interesting that you brought that up because that's such a huge thing now where, hit the ball in the air, especially, all over Twitter, left and right. So have you noticed the difference when you're throwing to guys, even in the minor leagues, like when you're pitching? Are there swings maybe a little bit longer? Or
I will say that when people step in the box, like they're trying to put the ball in the gap. So, I mean, obviously hitters don't want to put the ball on the ground and roll over and stuff, but you still give up ground ball hits that are hard.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't tell hitters that you have to put the ball in the air.
Yeah.
I think if you hit the inside part of the ball, put backspin on it and drive it, and just worry about hitting line drives, and you'll start seeing success. And I think the new hitting philosophy, when they say hit it in the air, people automatically think, oh, well, I got to hit home runs or like deep pop flies. It's like, no, when they say in the air, it's like a line drives in the air. So I wouldn't say like, oh, I need to get the ball in the air. Like, don't force too much air under it. I mean,
you got to put the ball in play first and foremost.
And at the end of the day, your goal is to reach base, whether it's via hit, walk, air. Somehow you're trying to get on base. If you just keep hitting pop flies left and center, it's like you're not getting on base, and pitcher's happy. So I wouldn't say from a hitting standpoint, I'm not a hitting coach or anything, but I would just say work on driving the ball.
Right. Now you guys have a really pretty long season. How many games did you play this year?
We played 139. We were slated for 140, but we had to rain out the first half, I think. So.
I mean, how much of a grind is that? Because I played like 70 in like 77 days, and it felt like a year.
Yeah, it can be long, especially in the dog days of summer in July when it's 95 degrees and you're taking BP at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But it's fun because the group of guys we had this year were awesome. So being around them, being at the park every day, I mean, having an opportunity to play baseball. I mean, there was some days that were a grind where your body's aching, just sitting through a 3-4 hour game. And it's like, man, but at the end of the day, like, you got fortunate enough to be playing the game and healthy, so I can't complain.
What's the lifestyle like throughout, just in the minor leagues in general? It's just, you're staying in what, Motel 6s for the most part?
So we actually this year we stayed at nice hotels, and last year too. I know in rookie ball we stayed in some tough hotels, but no, we just stay at like Courtyards or Holiday Inn Expresses, stuff.
And then
like
you have
that.
a host family. You have a host
yeah,
family?
so in Wilmington I had a host family, Bill and Tina Mitchell. They were awesome. So
shout out Bill and Tina.
They treat you like their kids, and they got food for you. They can come and go whenever.
And then at the higher levels, would you, so like if you're in AA next year, would you have to get your own apartment?
Yeah, you get an apartment, share with guys, and I think there might be one host family or so, but for the most part, in AA and AAA, you have apartments. So.
Yeah.
And if you get called up, then whoever goes to AA usually takes your spot, so that works out well as far as you not having to pay when you're not there.
Yeah. And that's kind of another thing, the money factor. You're not making a ton of money in the minor leagues. Do you see guys who maybe stop playing because they really just, because a lot of guys have kids and a wife and things like that?
Yes and no. I mean, ultimately, if you achieve your dream and make it to the big leagues, then you get paid pretty decent there, as we all know. But it can be a grind as far as money. But having the ability to stay with the host family saves some money, and then they feed you before and after games. So the only thing you really got to supply yourself with is lunch and breakfast and stuff. So it's not too big of an expense, and we're able to carpool to the field and stuff. And then obviously on the road they give you per diem on top of your paycheck, so they give you.
So you're not? Are you pretty much breaking even at the end of the year?
Yeah, I mean you're not in the game to make money at the lower levels, but essentially you're breaking even and,
Yeah.
and getting through. So and then in the off season you have the ability to get a job if you want to give lessons and make some money too. So
Would you say most of the guys give lessons in the off season?
I would say a lot of them do, and then so a lot of guys too stay with their mom or their families and stuff. So they're not out on too many expenses if they're doing that. But
Yeah.
as far as myself, living in Chicago, like I got several expenses and
Yeah.
stuff, so I'll be giving lessons up there.
Yeah. So what's a typical day look like for you? You know, like maybe just like a home game, for example.
So a home game. So in the off season, I usually wake up at like 9:30 and went and work out. So,
Yeah.
but during the season, it's tough to wake up early because you got 7 o'clock games. Those games usually are over about 10 or so, and then you come in, shower, eat, do whatever arm care you need. So you're getting home at 11:30 every night. So it's tough to fall asleep right away. So. I usually fall asleep around like 1 or so, even though it's not the healthiest, but probably fall asleep around 1, then wake up at like 10:30, and then I'll usually eat like a big breakfast or so, and then shower, hang out, and then head to the field about 2 o'clock, and then get there, and then they have food for us there pregame and stuff, and then we'll hit BP. If we need to lift, we'll get a lift in, hang out in the locker room, play video games or something like that, cards. And then about an hour or so, start getting ready for the game as far as obviously putting the uni on, getting taped up, and then getting your mind right. Obviously 30 minutes before, especially position guys, and then bullpen guys. We usually don't head out to the bullpen until like 10 minutes before the game, so we kind of just hang out in there. So
You guys have it like TV and stuff in there?
yeah, it's a nice locker room setup as far as couches and TV and tables and stuff like that. So
Now you see like certain organizations where they have like particular philosophies. You know, I've heard some really don't like to like long toss or things like that. Did the Royals have anything where they were like, you know, that we don't want you to, you know, to air it out?
This year they allowed guys to do if they wanted to do weighted ball programs during the year.
Like drive line?
They didn't want you like obviously pulling down with the weighted balls, but as far as shoulder and arm care, as far as like doing the backwards throws and the pivot throws to get hot and stuff like that, they allowed you to do that. But I haven't really heard or asked about the weighted ball program. I know there's probably some guys out there that do it in off season and stuff, but and then there's some guys that like to long toss more than others. I know I'm a guy that likes to keep it short, around 100, 120 at most during the season and stuff. But they send out the throwing program in the off season for you to do, and it starts around Christmas or a little before, and then that allows you to build up. And I mean, you can start throwing early and kind of keep it on the radar. But as long as you're ready to go, as soon as you step on the mound in spring training, they're not going to say anything. Yeah, as long as you're healthy too.
Right. Do you know a lot of guys who are doing that drive line program? Or have you thought about doing the?
We did a modified version in college, and I liked it. I didn't really gain much velo. I think from my standpoint, it allowed me to just maintain my top velocity better. But I know there's a handful of guys that do it, but it's just tough when you play
That many games.
Many games, and then when you're ready to start throwing again, it's like, all right, I need to do the normal throwing program. So I know there's some guys that will start a month early in order to get it in, but at the end of the day, I think a lot of guys like to take that 2 months off in order to get the right rest.
Yeah. So do they tell you like for next year when you're heading into spring training? I've heard that unless you just absolutely kill it or the opposite, play really bad in spring training, they pretty much know where you're going to be. Have they told you yet?
They haven't. I mean, they have a good idea where they want to send guys, and they do that in the wintertime, but they don't tell you in spring training until about the last week and a half to kind of keep the competition. And obviously, too, if they tell someone, oh, you're going to this level, that level, sometimes it's not what people want to hear. So they don't want people moping around the locker room, I'm sure. So they kind of hold off on that aspect, and then about a week left, they'll start telling people so they can get apartment arrangements and stuff like that.
What's spring training, like when you're out there? For the most part, I guess it can be pretty stressful if you don't know if you're, make a team or not. But obviously, you will for next year. But like a typical day, I mean, what's that looking like out there?
So spring training starts early in the day. So we wake up about 5:45, leave for the field about 6:30, and then you get to the field. You got breakfast for you. You got whatever mobility stuff you need to do if you want to get a lift in, obviously. And then you usually start workouts around 8:30. And then you got workouts all day as far as fundamental stuff, hitting, BP, PFPs, infield work, stuff like that. And then you're usually done around 10:30, 11, so you're out there for 2.5, 3. And then depending on if you have a game that week. So you usually don't start games until the second week there. So the first week's not too bad. It's kind of laid back and kind of getting everyone adjusted to spring training and stuff. And then the second week, after practice, you'll come in, eat lunch, and then you got to go back out and play a game around 1. So it can be it's pretty intense as far as the amount of guys there and the amount of fans and stuff like that. So it's fun, but it can definitely be stressful too, because you go from off-season lifting and living at home and working out with your buddies to
you control what
boom,
you do.
You're back in the games again. It's like that can be stressful too.
Right. How do you? So if you're you're throwing during spring training or during the regular season, and say you're a little bit wild, what do you focus on mechanics during the game necessarily, or is it more just from a competitive standpoint if you're not doing well?
I think it's both. So obviously if you're a little wild, there can be a mechanical tweak as far as you're moving too fast, your hands you're not separating in time, you're not using your legs enough. Obviously there's some mechanical tweaks you can make, but a lot of it's mental too. Like you get eat up with it when you're not doing too well, and then you keep playing that picture in your mind, and you keep throwing that same spot high and away. It's like, man, well, you keep playing that negative picture in your mind. It's like, well, all right, I got to clean that, like I said earlier. But yeah, you try to get all that out in spring training. That way, when the season comes and your numbers actually matter, then But
so, would you say for kids out there watching, if they're missing they're wild few outings in a row, would you say look at more of your mechanics, or would you say it might be more mental?
If it spans for longer than a couple outings, then I would say it might be something as far as mechanical issue. But if it's just that one outing, and the next outing you go out there and it'd be like, okay, maybe that day, like I said, it could have been a little mechanical tweak, but at the end of the day, you got to be like, all right, I got to stop making the same mistake. So I need to take a deep breath and be like, all right, let's get the ball in the zone as far as the competitive aspect. But people vary. I know that. So I know when I'm a little wild, I had a couple this season where I was a little wild, and you got to tell yourself, like, all right, I got to get back in the zone somehow. I got to grind this out. And,
well, it's so mental too. I mean, it's just you. I mean, it's just you on the
mound.
Like,
honestly, it's you got the ball in your hands, so you control the whole game as far as starting the plays. So I know I was just like, all right, I got to get the ball in the zone somehow. Like, I know my body doesn't feel good at this point. Maybe I'm not using my legs as much as I should be, but I got to somehow find a way to get the ball in the zone. So I know depending on the outing, I had to remind myself, all right, do this. And I had to remind myself before I threw the ball, rather than, all right, I got to stop missing arm slide. I had to tell myself, like, all right, separate sooner. That way I'm not thinking about that negative picture. I'm just telling myself a reminder. And then when I actually threw it, it allowed me to do that and get the ball back in the zone.
Sure. Now, would you say that's the biggest difference between like a major league pitcher and someone in the minors? Consistency?
Honestly, yeah.
Because the stuff, I mean, you got guys throwing.
Yeah, you see really good stuff in the minors. You see guys throwing the same velo, same off speed, but at the major league level, they have the ability to command all their pitches. They have feel for it, and just being able to consistently get hitters out on the big stage allows them to have success there and stay there, obviously. And that's why it's fun to watch. I mean, especially baseball now, or you start to see the young guys come up and bring a little excitement to baseball. But that's the biggest difference between minors and majors is consistency and the ability to perform at a high level each day.
Now, a couple more questions here, and we'll let you get going here. What one thing do you think you would like to improve upon for next year, going into next year?
I think.
Or is there? I mean, you had a good year.
Obviously, there's a lot of room for improvement. So I think having the ability to, I got better grip or feel for my slider this year, but having the ability to put that where I want every outing. I know there's a couple outings where it's like my feel for it wasn't great. My fastball command felt good for the most part, most of my outings, but having the ability to each and every outing put that slider and just get a more consistent feel for it, and I think that'll allow me to have more success too.
So for again, some of the younger guys out there, what kind of pitches would you recommend that they need to have to succeed at the professional
It just varies. I mean, everyone needs fastball command. That's the number one thing.
Yeah.
And then I know for my arm slide and as far as being a reliever, curveball is not the best pitch for me. So I kind of went to the slider, and then obviously a changeup's good. Good change of pace pitch for pitchers out there. I know I don't really throw it that much, but I know for starters and then bullpen guys going longer than 1 or 2 innings, then a changeup's an effective pitch. And depending on what type of pitcher you are, if you're a power pitcher, if you're a command guy, it just varies. So I think I'm not going to tell someone they should throw a changeup, they
Yeah.
should throw a curveball, but what suits their pitching mentality and game the best, I think,
Right.
is what pitches they should throw.
I got you. One last thing. So you're in the big leagues, right? You got one hitter that you could face. You know, your dream hitter to strike out. Who would it be? Or who would you just want to face?
I would want to face. I think it'd be cool to have faced like Barry Bonds or Manny Ramirez.
Yeah.
Those
In
are my
their prime.
two. Those are my two favorite players growing up, and then Pedro Martinez is my favorite pitcher growing up. But yeah, watching Manny and Barry hit was awesome.
So how would you pitch them?
Honestly, don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I
Just throw it as hard as you can and hope something happens.
But yeah, if they step in the box, like my kid at heart would come to play, and I just try to throw it as hard as I could. But
Yeah.
they'd probably turn on it. So.
Yeah, I got you.
'Cause they're such
Well, we
good
really
hitters.
appreciate you stopping by today. Obviously, make sure to follow Jacob. He's going to be in the Arizona Fall League. So awesome dude. Had a great season. One last thing, as usual, if you guys go to the show notes at Jacob's page, make sure to click on the DannyO'Keefe.org link. Danny was involved in a tragic incident a few years ago, and he needs a lot of help for his rehab, and he's doing a lot better now. Again, you can click up on his story, but if you guys could just donate, just anything would help at all. Again, he's an awesome guy. Probably in a few more episodes, we're actually going to have him on with George as well, because George Foster's really good friends with him. He actually introduced me to him, so he's a great guy. So if you guys just check out that link, and again, we appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and good luck in the Fall League. So awesome. Thanks, guys. Awesome.